so sketchy flying. And when you're in the air, you don't see them. You do not see the power lines. So there was a couple times like, oh, we gotta pull up. Power lines, oh, go back down. My name is Bryant Lambert. I'm a content creator. I've been creating content for a long time, 12 years, 13, 14, something like that years. Since high school, I wanted to film motocross because I wanted to be cool and meet all these motocross guys. And I looked at people like Jerry McGrath and Twitch and all of them. And yeah, I want to film dirt biking. But then I got introduced to short course racing, kind of started filming off-road short course, the Lucas Oil Series. And so from there, I had a good friend that really introduced me to a couple of racers like Sheldon Creed, Jared Brooks. So I kind of jumped into that. And then from there, it just skyrocketed. I mean, I started filming that. I filmed short course probably 7 or 8 years. Nowadays, I'm mainly producing content for whether it's PRI, SEMA, Chevrolet Performance, Toyota, mainly larger corporate companies. So I love doing it, but I think my heart is still in off-road. So I still love off-road racing. I love racing in general, but off-road racing is where my heart is for sure. 2019 Mint 400, I flew for Mikey Lawrence. And we didn't have a huge budget because I mean, Mikey and his team, they really fund everything from their own company. Lawrence Equipment, they make tortilla machines, which is really cool, by the way. These tortilla machines are like a mile long. Little plug for Mikey Lawrence and Lawrence Equipment. But so yeah, we were flying for Mikey. No big budget, but they got okay budget for this race, which was cool. So we got a helicopter. And like his uncle Clay likes riding a helicopter to follow him and watch him. Now he's racing his own 6100, which is really cool. But so yeah, anyways, I jump up in the helicopter with Clay, and I didn't have a shot over, so I was kind of hand-holding a camera out of the side of it, back OG, throw the harness on and jump in and go for it, which was an incredible experience. But yeah, it was a weird day. Like we launched early in the morning and we went out for the Class 10 race because his uncle was racing Class 10. And we only wanted like one lap just to get some content. So we launched it, we went around, did a lap, we went and landed, and we chilled for a couple hours waiting for the trophy trucks to go again. And then, so I go back to the airport and jump back in, and we get up and we're circling, waiting for him to go. And it's like, why is he not going? Wasn't it going? Finally he gets going. Okay, cool. So we start following him, and he blew a belt. It was a huge bummer because I was like, we were starting to kind of get in the groove. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, I have no footage. Like, how am I supposed to create a video with 5 minutes of going down this like dirt road and no good footage yet? I'm like, damn, this sucks. Super bummed out, and it started raining. So it was freezing, like it was really cool. So I had a huge jacket on. It started like raining out there and it was like drizzling. So we're still able to fly, but it was so cold, like hanging on the side of the helicopter. It was a crazy deal. So we went and landed, and I was like, okay, whatever. And so the pilot ended up, going back to the hotel or whatever. And I started driving back to the pits, and I got a call from Mikey. He had a cell phone on him. He's like, we got the truck fixed. Get the helicopter back in the air. We're going again. I was like, oh shit. So I called the Pilot Pete, and I was like, hey dude, let's get back. He's like, all right, let's go. I'll meet you there. So went back, and then we had to find him because we didn't know where he was on the course. So we started flying the course backwards. And we came and we're flying for like 15, 20 minutes. Like, I don't know where he's at. Like, did he break again? What's going on? All of a sudden I was like, I see a red and black truck out there. And all of a sudden he comes in, man. And we flew until it got like dark. And really, helicopters land when it gets dark because it's, you can't land in sketchy terrain because you can't see it. So it's like they land, but we flew until he was like, finally, he's like, dude, we got to go back. It's just too dark now. But that was one of the coolest races I've ever flown. And to be able to see that race from the air was really cool because you don't realize how rough the Mint is until you see it. And you're like, dude, that race is rough. It's like San Felipe for 400 miles. I think something that stood out for me at that race was, and I never really thought about it, there are a million power lines out in Nevada. So it's so sketchy flying. And when you're in the air, you don't see them. You do not see the power lines. So there was a couple times like, oh, we gotta pull up. Power lines, oh, go back down. It's definitely sketchy, and it's wild to see, but it's things you don't think about when you're on the ground filming a race. You don't think about power lines because it doesn't matter. But from the air, it was definitely some sketchy areas, but it was cool. It was definitely a really awesome race to fly and to film a race from. Racing's hard. Racing is a family sport, which I really love about it. I've seen lots of different racing, from circle track racing, sprint car, off-road, of course. And a lot of it is bringing people together. And that's the really coolest thing about it is, like, when you're at a track, we've seen it from both sides. Like, we're not racers. I'm not a racer. So it's like I see it from the media side of things, and I've told some really cool stories about racing. I think the biggest thing is what people put into it. They put everything into it. They'll go work their ass off at their day job from 9 to 5 every day and go home and work on their race cars until the night. I think a big influence to that is a kid, Cole Mamer, I've been working with forever, since he was this tall. Cole is one of the hardest workers I know. He works out in Holtville, which is out by Glamis, and he's a farmer. And he goes out and farms all day, and then he'll go back and work on his pro light at night. And the kid, this year he just bought a semi. He's racing a Pro 4, he's racing a Pro Light, he's prepping a Pro 2. He like all year long he's been building people's vehicles. That way he could go out east and race all year, or to the Midwest and race all year the Champ Off-Road Series. I think that's what racing is right there, 100%. It's not about the corporate teams, it's not about the daddy's money teams. It's all about the kids that want to race, that put their heart into it, that have someone to look forward to. I think it teaches a lot of people dedication, and it teaches them to work their butts off. If they want something, they can chase it.
Every time we climb in our cars and pull our belts tight, new memories and stories are created. We are on a mission to bring these stories to light, both for our community and for those outside off-road to understand the allure. So please help us in sharing these stories.